I'm hoping we can talk about a character with a goal and a character with no goal. And how would I be able to see that my screenplay has like a character with a weak goal?
Oh, interesting. Well, so I think most movies that you watch, most mainstream movies that you watch, are really built around a character pursuing something, right? So I would say they all have pretty definable goals. Any movie that you'll see that's like in the theater. I take that back. Not any movie that you'll see. Most movies that you'll see, they're designed around somebody who wants something very badly and goes after it, right? I would say if you're trying to figure out whether your character has a weak goal, probably the places that I would start would be at your break into two. This is assuming you've already written the script, right? At your break into two, do we know what your character is going to be pursuing over the rest of the movie? That's their goal. That's you might not always think of it as a goal. It might be, you might think of it as just a conflict, like this character and this character are competing for the same prize or something like that. You could look at it that way. But we know what we're tracking over that entire movie, right? So I would say establishing that goal is one part of the question that you're asking. And then the other part is whether they're pursuing that goal, right? And we want them to be pursuing it consistently and against great odds and opposition, right, throughout the entire movie. And so that is something that you'd have to evaluate. Is my character in virtually every scene, are they pursuing that goal, that big picture thing that they're trying to accomplish? And if they are they also running into some form of antagonism that's keeping them from making progress too quickly or achieving that goal right away without anything standing in their way? Because we want both of those things. We want a strong goal, but we also want your character to pursue it actively and have to really try to get it.
Right. So with Bridesmaids, if we go back to that movie as an example, if we look at her goals, is the goal to win the friendship of the one friend or to show up the other woman?
Well, so I would say that the goal in that movie is for her to be her best friend's maid of honor, right? And the method, remember we talked about the method that she's going to use is by competing with Helen, right? So she won't always have to compete with Helen in order to achieve that goal, but that's her main force of antagonism. So she really is going to have to compete with Helen most of the time. And then I would say what's at stake in that movie is her friendship, among other things. But if we're just sort of laying out the sort of building blocks of the setup, that's how I would kind of delineate them. Does that make sense?
It does. And so if I'm writing a script and someone's not clear on like why my character is doing certain things, does that maybe indicate that the hero's goal is not very clear?
Well, if we know what they're trying to do, then I would say the goal is clear. But if we're not sure why they're doing something, I would say either there's just a sort of a plot logic problem, like we don't understand why they think this thing is what they need to do, or it could also be a stakes problem. So we don't understand why they're taking on this goal in the first place because we don't understand what it means to them or what will happen if they don't take it on or what happens if they fail, all of those things. We need to really understand sort of the motivation behind your character's actions, and a lot of times that has to do with stakes.